Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Earth is a nursery where the seed of the future stars and future universes and life of galaxies more or less comes to depend partially from the seeds from the, let's say, the tulips. The whole universe is not just one flower, just the tulips. There's some roses, some other flowers, the honeysuckles, and the rest we have on the earth. So there are other nurseries in the universe which create that seed of soul. Mitra is not the only citizens of the universe. Mitra is one of it's like when you live in a city, you don't fall in love with every woman on the street. You fall in love with one. And this is what Earth is, has been, and be. But the interesting point for us, which is intriguing if you have not understood, is going to hit you very hard if you understand. And then you have to understand what's the next. As we said, Earth is the nursery. It could be seed of a star, it could be seed of a galaxy, the soul of the man who lives this planet, or it could be a dust in the way we see cosmic dust in the galaxies and in solar systems, floating around till finding somewhere to become that star, that planet, or become part of it. But now, as a humans, you have a dilemma. Because we have not reached a part of the souls which left this planet billions of years ago, from the first souls which left this planet, they became a seed, some of them in the universe, and those seeds gathered enough energies as a speck of energy beginning the seed of a, let's say, a star. Now they have created planetary system in them, which in essence comes from the soul of the man, or created things from this planet billions of years ago. Now the technology of the man has reached to be able to travel with the speed of soul, not the speed of light. And one of you, a bunch of you, travel the span of the universe and land on one of the planets which was created from the soul of the man from this planet itself millions of years ago. There are a number of things that will come to be understood and will be part of the space research in years to come, is to diagnose from the field of strength, from the behavior, from the psychosomatic of the solar system or a galaxy or a universe, if the seed was that from tulips or from Earth. And would the future mankind, now that has access to travel with the speed of the soul, will come to recognize when it lands on such a system? Would the system, as it was created out of the planetary structure of Earth, would have hydrogen as its base? Would it carry water, because through the water it absorbed most of the energies of the universe with it? 90%, 95% of the weight of the man is water. So it gives us a new dimension in the space technology. The way that we thought we are the only planet in the universe and the only solar system with planetary system. And now in the past decade or so, the scientists are telling us every day they are finding new stars with planetary system and the numbers are increasing rapidly. Would our scientists come to the point that now we found this planetary system, now we found this solar system, and in these solar systems we find maybe possibly life like Earth, or creation of the water which leads to creation of life? Did this star, did this solar system, did this galaxy came from the soul of the created things on this planet millions of years ago? And in a way, as it was created out of, will create out of itself the same characteristics. Then it comes for our scientists to assess. When we come to a solar system, when we come to a structure which now our scientists tell us has water in it, has conditions of life in it, the question mark for man is to answer, did the seed of this star came from Earth? And would man be able to live a life near to life on Earth, on these systems? So can we find solar systems, structures which have similar life as Earth? Putting aside the psychological pattern aside, putting the coincidences that the energies can come together to create possibly life on, same as life on the Earth, is the soul of the solar system from Earth? Did one of us was so devoted, so servitude, does not matter if you're a dog or a cat or a man, that led to be and became the seed and replicated what was on Earth? When you buy tulips, you don't throw it away. When it finishes the cycle of life, you hold it, you look after it, and you plant it next season to give new flowers. So the life comes to this point. Now that the space technology is opening up, not with a rocket and what I call firework, but the knowledge and science of the creation, magnetic fields, plasmatic motion, gravitational field systems, And man is good in making tools to measure things and to be replicating it. Then it comes, would we find systems which have a life like Earth? And would we, in the future, with our knowledge, confirm and in a way, through the strength of the fields of the solar system of it, or whatever, the seed connection with Earth? In a way, then we see how the souls of this planet, this greenhouse, are fed and become that star, the galaxy, the solar system, or a speck of dust in galaxies. Those are the ones which in holy books they call them the hell. Nothing but just the dust. And is heaven that you become that seed that gives that flower of the galaxies and universes a new life? Then you understand why the correction had to be done on this planet to stop the killing, because now we see some problems in the universe where the nursery did not clean up the infectious disease of killing. And we come to sort it out. To you, it's 6,000 years from Moses and 2,000 years from Christ and the rest of it. But in fact, it's a few seconds, milliseconds, fraction of the milliseconds in the work of the universe. So what to you, thousands of years to get here, to us outside, is just walk in the park. Even though to you is very important. It's like looking at the ant colony and seeing there's something the ants cannot cross, or because of it they do funny things, and you correct it and the ants go on the straight path. So in a way, to you, it's just passing a few milliseconds, life of an ant, but the ant is his life, and it could be that day of his life, the only day which lives. So now you understand how important it is to get things sorted in this greenhouse. Because this greenhouse, if it's wrong, now that the seeds of the creation of the other planetary star systems from the seeds which came from here are growing, we have to see to get rid of this infection. Otherwise, we'll have more problem in the future when those seeds, stars or planetary start creating life, and then the mayhem as we see, we come to clean up. But if you understood this, now it means we can go to the soul planet from the Earth. Then we find a lot of common denominators in living. We find a lot of common denominators in the soul of what we call the knowledge within planetary. We feel at home because it came from home.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 528th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, March 7th, 2024. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be your host today. And once again, we have the opportunity to host Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who will be presenting today's workshop, and we'll get into that right now. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to go?
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. We welcome you back more or less to the 10th year anniversary of these teachings. This week, more or less, we walk into our 10th year, and I hope we can teach for another 10 years if the situation and the time is there for us to teach. But it's thankful to be able to share, and hopefully we learn more. Going through cosmic rays, understanding cosmic rays and fields are essence of the transportation, connection, transmutation, and in a way, replication systems of the universe. Man soon will find out that what we call cosmic rays is, in a way, connected to man's intention, to man's emotion. What I gathered and what we try to make you see and understand gradually is what you should have gathered by now, and what we call emotion. And within the emotion created by intention, you should have known that in a very near future, if we give you a connection through emotion of intention, or intention to create such an emotion, a specific emotion, you can connect to the point, to the emotion, to the feeling. So one of the biggest problems, which has been, how do you know where I am? How can you get me there, and how can you bring me back? And one interesting point will be for many of you, which some are learning it through the process of the teaching, and some already have some understanding of it. But in some of the teachings, I have touched on this very, very, very slightly, but in a deep way, according to, if you paid attention to it. In the process of past few months using the systems, we give you the intention. You create the emotion, and you land up in the destination or the intention. In a way, you're sitting in the house, you make an intention to go to the cinema, you create the emotion of what you might see, what you might enjoy, and you walk, get in the car, and you get to cinema to fulfill the intention, and then the emotion created in you. In a present day, we transmit information. And if you have the right receptor, the right system to receive the specific channel strength, 9 megahertz, 2 kilohertz, whatever, then you can listen to what was sent. The beauty with cosmic rays is that you don't need that transmitter. You can create the intention, you can create the emotion, and with it, according to the way it's intended and emotion is created, you can connect to the source. And those souls who understand this and get to that point, and the intention and the emotion of intention is correct way, they can see rice, they can go to the dimension of the what we call seat of the creator, or they can receive a banana. This became very interesting for a lot of you some years ago, and then you lost it because it was just fun. One of our loved knowledge seekers made a banana, the alcohol, and the other parts, and as he wished he got that feeling. In the morning he wanted the orange juice, he created the emotion and the feeling and the intention of having an orange juice, and he received the taste, the energy. And we know what he did with the others. In this process, we come to understand that your source up to now in a dimension of the whatever emotion of the soul was to find your way to Christ or to the Creator. But if you would have created the right intention and the right emotion, which we said emotion comes from interaction of the soul of the soul of the man, and that intention is created by dimension of physicality, which brings in the game of the soul of the physicality, you can, in a way, through the soul of the man, reach anywhere. I hope you understood what I said. And this is the same way that we will teach knowledge seekers and the men of space to keep in touch with base, to understand the source. For you, it's difficult because you don't know the smell of the Creator, you don't know his feature, you don't know where it is, so that's out of the question. But Keshe Foundation has created a system. He feed me, he can give me the medicine of my soul, and he can bring me the wellness of my physicality, and emotionally can balance me. So if my intention is the correct intention to enjoy the pleasure of, to allow it to give me the pleasure of existing, I can connect to that system. Which means I don't even need a headphone. I need to connect to the dimension of the fields of the universe, and I receive what I need. This has become very apparent in the last week. We're trying to set up things with Palestinians. We go out to reach, but they're not aware of. So we change our technique and tactics that we deliver direct. And we let them to come to satisfy. And this is, in a way, you wish of a banana, I have made a channel's banana will come to you. But that you're not aware of it. How it came, the way it came, because the strength of the field of emotion of the hunger in a banana is that the strength that we have created in the spectrum of every motion. And every motion and every emotion and every dimension of the soul of every individual has his own fingerprint. It's like what you have on your finger, not two can match. And we can have a spectrum of these as we see in the number of the stars in the universe, in one galaxy, in one universe, and God knows what is in the universe. Now, maybe you understand how we connect. Maybe you need a connection to connect in dimension of understanding, but you got to understand it comes as energy. I cannot feel it in dimension of physicality, but in the dimension of physicality, my life has changed. I don't need to eat. I don't need to get depressed. I don't need to do something for the wellness of my headache or my cancer. And if now one understands this, you have truly become the man of the universe. You have truly understood the process of the creation. In the coming time, in the coming weeks, as now we are on what we call the scaling up of the knowledge very rapidly, we will introduce more and more of these technologies. And we give you the opportunity for you to test, not for us to bring it to show, but you delivering to yourself, building up the trust, building up the certainty that I can do that, I can reach that, I'll be part of it. In a way, as those of you who come to Sanya, you'll be one of the most fortunate creatures on this planet. I have set up a system that if you reach the position of absolute clarity, you will feel the dimension field forces of the universe. You feel to be part of it, and the world will be your oyster. In a way, we have set up a scene that in the island of Sanya in Hunan, man will celebrate his freedom from this planet. And those of you who enter this space and you are sincere and clear with your conduct and your emotion, you will know exactly what we talk about. In London and in Manchester, you had a headphone to go to those dimensions, and some of you too. In Sanya, you enter the environment. And if you find the right spot for the strength of the field of your soul, you will feel the attachment. In Conference in Sanya, we let you loose to find, possibly, if you're sincere enough with yourself, the strength of your soul, the position of the opening contact, the position of you understanding, being in touch with, and some of you might go through a transition. We give you the condition, we create the environment that in that environment is not anymore headphones on your head. It's the air you breathe and the environment, atmosphere you walk in is part of that structure of expansion of your soul. What we call the collective. And with it, the creation of life. In teaching of the past years, and in the psychological and biological and everything else which man has written, understood about himself, it says that the skin of the man is the brain of the man. It's connected, it's part of. And the same is connected to your lung. But you have a structure of the center fields, different fields, which makes the physical structure of the body of the man. And then you have the soul of the man, which interaction of these with the dimension of connection of those creates the skin of the man. If you understand this, then you come to understand when we give you the structure which is set up for you in Sanya, and if you touch the right field of strength, right position, in a way hitting the arrow on the red ball of the dartboard, you will create that skin. You will feel, you will see physical structure of what you call a craft, which your soul is creator of. Insania, as I said, I bring you something that you've never seen. But to see it, you bring your soul. It's not taught on the teaching. I don't need to be there. And we will never repeat this again. The systems will not be set up to create this condition that the man can see through the emotion of his soul with the environment dimension of interaction of the fields, the creation of materialization of the system, which in a physical dimension, you create another skin, another craft, another body to confirm the existence of your physical body in two dimensions. In a way, you become the soul of physicality because you still have the brain and thinking, and the craft becomes the center interaction of the emotion and the physicality of the soul, which is within the brain of the man. If you understood this, I explained this a few minutes ago to one of my beautiful knowledge seekers, because I knew it's going to be taught today. And I embarked on this, and I explained this in a very, very direct way last week. I explained to you that when you have the reactors, the 3 reactors of the base of the star formation system, and has no physical dimension, because by creation or understanding of the new technologies, we don't need to create containment, but it's a plasma with a free boundary. There's one secret which many years I wanted to explain. And I open it up because you will understand exactly. You have been the most misfortunate man, not the Insanya. When you look at the UFO, as you call it, the dream of the dreams of the man to travel this part of the universe, and we always talk about star formation. When we look, and we have seen no other reports, because those who have been through, and I said you can always identify, you see the base of the star formation, the 3 reactors, the 3 lights which are inside, they're not outside, as I explained last time. We never see the 4th one. We only see the physicality of the machine. Because the 4th one is made from the soul of interaction of the whole inhabitants of the system. And as what we call the dimension of the fields of the emotion of the man's system, we call it the brain. It creates the physicality of the man. The 4th reactor, which is the emotion of the soul of the man, or the creature, or the structure, which has no light within it because it's the way it operates in a different dimension, creates a physicality of the craft. The way the physicality of your body is created. In so many ways, today I have given you an insight, understanding why we teach about the star formation, and man, for centuries, for decades, for whatever, whenever they report seeing a UFO, they see 3, which in fact should be 4. Where the 4th is the dimension of the emotion of the soul, which in interaction with the 3 creates the physical boundary of the system, you call it the UFO. So, for the first time, you understand the captain of these systems is the collective soul of its inhabitants. Then, if you understood this, and you understand the physiology of the plasma interaction in the universe, you should understand how planet, stars, galaxies, and universes give themselves through the dimension of the carbon 14 and 840 and other dimensions, the dimension of existence, dimension of physicality, dimension conformation of it. And if man one day understands this knowledge, one day understands what Mr. Keshe explains as the star formation, but now up to now we never understood that when we look at these UFOs, but it's the fourth one. If the other three can be seen when they're in, why can't we see the fourth one? Why can't we see the soul of the man? But we see the physicality of the man. Then you understand the secret of creation. When you understand how the Creator has given the man dimension of physicality, being created by the interaction of the soul of the Creator itself, where the other dimension of the fields create the dimension of existence in interaction of the fields with the soul of the Creator, and then you understand every ray, every condition in that UFO contains every essence of its passengers. Then you understand there is a big difference between the craft which man makes from steel and iron, and he has limitation of the weight. The UFOs, the physical dimension of the transportation in the universe, has no material and has no dimension, but is created out of the intention. Then, now you understand how you work, you live, and how the dimension of physicality of the man is created by the interaction of the field of the soul of the man and the dimension of interaction of the fields of the matter states of the environment. Then, if one understands this, one can be passenger of both the dimension of physicality and the dimension of energy, transmutation, and the soul in connection with the transmutation dimension of the soul of the Creator. Maybe now you understand. When for decades I've been explaining, I can tell you which picture is fake and which picture is true about the UFOs. Those who are fake have no soul. And if they have a soul, you can feel it, you're trained to, you know it's the real. The reality of existence. The way the soul of the man in interaction with the energy fields of the, what we call physical dimension, with interaction with the soul of environments and the field of environments, leads to the creation of physicality of the man. Without any matter, God does not have a factory building skins and bones and bringing it and sewing it together. It's interaction of the fields which creates the skin of the man, which itself is made of fields. And then you understand why you have carbon 60, as I explained before, why you have interaction of the fields in the dimension of 840, and why you have the connection and the dimension in carbon 12 and 14. Then, if you understand this, if you come close to understand the interaction of the soul of the Creator, which you call hydrogen, in interaction and connection with the carbons of the man, what you call CH bonds, creates the dimension of life in any corner of the universe. Mr. Cohen? Then Man should understand the dimension of the physicality of the man is connected to the matter state interaction fields of its own amino acid. Then if you understand this, if you become wise to this knowledge, you can manifest yourself in any dimension in the universe and in collection of your own soul to create the three base and freedom of the soul of the man, you can create UFOs in the dimensional field of the man. You don't need no prophets and no gods and messengers as liars and cheaters, as was made by man. Knowledge does not need prophet. Knowledge only needs is understanding and comprehending and being able to look at the knowledge in the true way as it is, not as one wants it to be. Now you understand where bits of the bricks is coming together to build that castle. And how the knowledge is putting together brings you that change. Insania will bring a course, we bring a game changers. And as I said, those of you who were fortunate will meet some of you, your creator, by yourself. We just create the dimension of fields of transfer, transmutation, or connection, depending on the strength of your soul. And some of you who have no understanding, but you want to be part of the show, come. Nothing happened to me. Why don't I feel anything? Because your own soul understands you're not ready in the dimension of physicality to reach that point. No one to blame except your own prejudice, understanding, and your own, what I call, misunderstanding or greed to reach where you already possess. In a way, and the hunger makes you blind, and actually the food is in your own pocket. And what are you hungry for? Look within, understand the process of your own creation, how we keep on talking about the soul, and we keep on talking about the soul of physicality, and the creation of physicality, your skin, and then you still don't understand. You called yourself this chakra, that chakra. Vertical chakra creates the figure of the man. Triangular chakra creates the figure of the UFO and the rest of it. And now you understand again, I tell you, the biggest mystery, why you don't see a fourth reactor in any of the UFOs. And if you see the fourth, what's the reason? Has a generation, has a race understood, and like man tried to make a machine a fake soul? Or you don't see no soul, but you understand the emotion of the fields and you know what you're dealing with. And if you are sincere enough, you can create the three stars, the way you created your fingers, the way you created your kidney, the way you created your physical dimension. You will release the soul of the man in the dimension of interaction of the environment to create and change the physicality of the man as it was created in the skin through emotion of fields, where you are. Then you understand, go back into teaching years ago, and I explained many times, where you leave, you give your soul to a trusted captain. That captain is collective soul of the passengers of the system that is just and correct and is the same to all his passengers. And the interaction of the fields of their existence leads to totality, life, and the creation of physicality. As we see in the body of the man, in collective field strength of the same race, we make the kidney and of the same race, we make the lung and of the same race, we make the intestine. And collecting their interaction through the fields of their own dimension of existence, we give or we create or we bring about the creation of the soul of physicality, that in the interaction of the collective fields of the creation of the totality together, we create the dimension of the skin of the man. And we change it because every man have done, will do, as long as it lives, changes the skin. Because a new dimension of fields needs to be, it's like when you clean the window because you can't see through it anymore. It sheds to leave a clear window for the energies of the universe to enter the body, to interact, to confirm, to connect. Man thought, ooh, I go to the sauna and steam and I get this thingy, wash it and my skin comes off and I feel good. Now you understand what you do. Even with change of the skin, it gets tarnished, it gets damaged, does not absorb enough fields from the universe the way it does. So it changes. Then maybe you understand why people do the same job, have the same behavior. As their skin absorbs, only they feel the strength of, because it's tarnished, is coated by the fields of the work. Now you understand. Now you understand even why evolution comes into operation according to the environment. In so many ways. Get yourself, understand the process of creation of yourself, and you unravel the mystery of creation. Does not matter where in the universe. It will be one of the biggest pleasure to see how so many of you, as knowledge seekers in Sanya, reach the point of maturity to understand your own soul. And then is your decision. How you transfer, how you transmute, or how you stand in the middle. Nothing happened to me. Is something wrong with the Keshe Foundation work? Because your soul is not pure to reach that point. Have not understood the process of creation. Why am I the only one? Because you block it, because you're too attached to the dimension of physicality. Show me something physical, where I don't need that. I need the emotional to allow my soul to interact with the soul of physicality. We opened a store in a dimension in London. Now we create the environment. For the first time, we create an environment for you as knowledge seekers to walk in. And that'll be the last time we ever do this. Because there is a reason. And soon you will understand the reason. Those of you who have now more or less completed, you're going to be in Sanya in a week, 10 days time, you will experience the most amazing cycle of life and creation while you're next to another soul. While you stand amongst the others. This is not psychedelic or whatever. This is the process of the creation, where we create dimension of connection to your own existence in the universe. Some of you will understand how privileged your soul has been to be present in Sanya. The gift it has given you to bring you to that position. And those of you who come with a tainted heart, you'll find out you go with a very heavy heart. Because you carry the emotion of the physicality, and we have not set the system for that. It'll be interesting to see how you, as knowledge seekers, build the blocks of the knowledge together. And I hope I don't even have to teach in Sanya. The emotion, the field extension, the desire of the man in the dimension of the soul will create the eventuality of the presence and confirmation of the knowledge, the existence, operation of the soul. And if one of you gets lucky enough and close enough for a few seconds or a few minutes, hits the jackpot and feel the strength of the emotion of the soul, will create that UFO in that building. I fell in love with Sanya and Huined because of the love of one man, his purity and his understanding. And I have one of the highest respect for him. He's a man of Sanya. And in a way, whatever he touches, he reaches. And I hope, as he is present in the conference, the way he advanced, understood, his soul will lead to the creation of what the man has been looking. But that has to be seen. How many tainted souls are amongst us, that the totality of the creation of the unified soul will not be taking shape. Many of you will wish you could be there. And many of you, if you create the intention of the dimension, shall be there to feel it. Try to understand today's, what I call, the 10th anniversary of the teachings, which I gave you one of the biggest gifts to understand how your physicality created and how you can instantly travel in the dimension of the fields or material condition of the UFOs. And then I hope you achieve that, because if you manage to do that, in no time, you'll manage to meet your creator in the dimension of soul, the fields and energy. And I hope those of you who come to Sanya understand this. And I'm waiting to see for those says, nothing happened to me. Why am I the only one? Find out within your soul what you have blocked to yourself and nobody else. And some of you will achieve that. How some of you will reach that point of confirmation manifestation. As I said to our friend in Sanya, when I'm ready, I come, because I know it's the time. And we are coming. And his soul is there. And let's see what magic's man create for himself. We go for a break and we come back. And if there are any questions, we try to enlighten each other with the knowledge of the creation. Right? If you'd like to take us for a break, we come back.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Okay, this is the 528th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, March 7th, and we will be back shortly.
The revolutionary new Flight Enhancement Spaceship unit is due to be launched in June 2022, and in the same year is expected to fly passengers into space, to the moon and beyond for a day or even several days at a time. There is no need for the Flight Enhancement Spaceship unit to carry food or medicine, as it is equipped with the latest space technology for transportation, transmutation and deep space operation. This extraordinary breakthrough technology ushers in a new era of travel without the need of fuel, food, or medicine, even during the longest excursions into deep space. Each spaceship unit has a 4-passenger capacity for long or short duration flights and has the capability to travel between cities on Earth in a matter of seconds to minutes, depending on the distance and speed. This ability to traverse massive distance in such incredibly short time is not just a breakthrough for human transport, it also completely revolutionizes the transportation of goods and cargo and will rapidly overcome the need for one of our most polluting practices, namely marine shipping, as it finally breaks us free not only from the combustion of heavy diesel, but from the combustion of any fuel for propulsion in the future. The Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a new paradigm in space travel, space medicine, and space technology. The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a plasma space technology to prepare humanity for transportation and transmutation in deep space. Essential processes are embedded to prevent mutations and psychosomatic conditions during deep space travel. This new system is designed to support upper body conditions, especially of the lungs and intestines, and can be targeted specifically for each organ. When inside the Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the body experiences balance in totality, enabling it to correct and rebalance all the fields within itself. The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a dimension in health and transportation never seen before.
Okay, we're back again at the 528th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And because it's the second half, we do get to ask questions of Mr. Keshe. And I'll remind our guests and attendees here that they can raise their virtual hands, and then we can open your microphone so that you can speak. And those in the YouTube or Vimeo can put their questions in the chat, and we'll attempt to address them. Mr. Keshe, you usually have something to say before we begin that question process.
Not much today. We are all in the same position as before. We are preparing to move to Sanya for a 4-day seminar and conference in Sanya, and thereon move on to the next, what we call, presentation in the beautiful city of Isfahan later on this year. It is our intention to bring one of the biggest space, or what I call field presentations, to be seen in Sanya. Very few of you are lucky enough to be there. As what Chinese said, we don't need to come because we listen and we learn everything in the teaching. It's quite perfectly okay. It means your soul is not ready and will not be ready to reach that point. The rest is all what it is, because those who are there who feel it, you'll understand it. As I said, those of you who are there say, I was there when it happened. What we call, there's a lot of question about the material we introduced last week. A lot of people ask questions, and some of you who have purchased material, we try to deliver, and the production has already started this morning or yesterday morning, if I'm correct. And in so many ways, this material we put out, as I said, is what I call the currency exchange or life exchange material in the universe. Those of you who get it, you play with it because it's got fields and everything else. And some of you will understand its power if you use it, place it in the right way. It's not my intention to teach you what to do with it, as so you've been in the past, God knows, 10 years. You'll test it, you'll come up with a new bits with it, you come up with a new theories with it, and you will, in a way, gather the knowledge and how you can use the knowledge for the what I call elevation of your own existence. This material will change the dimension of man existence on this planet, and you will understand how and why. Gradually we'll explain. Please do not put it in the reactors, and please do not play with it. It means you have not understood the value of it. It has certain ways to be adored, and the way with the beauty it creates, and that does not need what man wants to push with physical dimension. You will understand this is created out of the fields of the what we call universe, from cosmic rays, and the evolution of it to matter state is in the hand of you. The way you put the ganses in a jar and you saw its color, its height and its dimension changes over time. Those of you who manage to get these materials and connect to universal fields, you will see the same as you saw in the liquid material. The fields around them, the strength of them will change every hour according to how you feel, who is touching your emotion, and how you touch the emotion of the environment. And then it'll be a fascinating time how with ease becomes the thermometer for man's condition of mental health and physical health and happiness of the emotion. You will feel it, you understand it, and you understand why we taught about that soul of the flying machine. If you understand and comprehend what is on the screen. Any question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Let's see here. We've got some questions in the Q&A and in YouTube. I think I'll start off with a mail-in question from Bente. Bente is one of our older knowledge seekers. She's in her mid-80s, I believe. And
No, she's the age of you and me. We just covered it up.
We're the old timers, all right.
Oh, we are becoming the youth of the future.
Oh, maybe
when a man lives for thousands of years, we just becoming toddlers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, carry on.
Well, she's a knowledge seeker. She's studying archaeology and geology and has been on some trips to Siberia and such places. And she's interested in what they call cosmogenic testing, which is when cosmic rays interact with certain substances, specifically, I think she mentions beryllium. Beryllium, yes. When cosmic rays hit a rock, like with beryllium in it, the beryllium will decay, and they can measure that beryllium to know how old that area is. So she has a question: Why does beryllium not decay all the time, but only when exposed to cosmic rays?
Can you go to your beloved friend, Google,
Okay.
and bring this mysterious material up, and then we understand.
Let's see here. Okay, beryllium. Okay, beryllium is a chemical element, has the symbol Be, atomic number 4. It is a steel gray, strong, lightweight, and brittle alkaline earth metal. Let me see, what do we have here in regards to its radioactivity? Let's see. It says it's interesting. It's beryllium, because of its low density and atomic mass. Beryllium is relatively transparent to X-rays and other forms of ionizing radiation. Therefore, it is the most common window material for X-ray equipment and components of particle detectors. So you've been hanging out with beryllium since you were a kid, Mr. Keshe.
Oh, I know this material inside out. It has a lot of beauty. Can you give us the atomic mass and atomic weight of it? Do you see it?
Well, we've got the atomic weight is 9, and the atomic number is 4.
So it has one extra. It has one extra neutron.
Sounds like that, yes. And
okay.
here's the nuclear properties. It mentions naturally occurring beryllium is a isotropically pure beryllium-9, which has a nuclear spin of 3/2. You see, it's a large scattering, works neutron moderator, and so on.
Can you see this material in the body of the man? Wikipedia. Do you find beryllium in the body of the man?
Right, trying to see here. Chemical properties. They certainly go on about it here. It's a component of several dental alloys, but let me see, here we go. Biological effects. Approximately 35 micrograms of beryllium is found in the average human body, an amount not considered harmful. Beryllium is chemically similar to magnesium and therefore can displace it from enzymes, which causes them to malfunction. Because beryllium is a highly charged and small ion, it can easily get into many tissues and cells where it specifically targets cell nuclei, inhibiting many enzymes, including those used for synthesizing DNA. Its toxicity is exacerbated by the fact that the body has no means to control beryllium levels, and once inside the body, beryllium cannot be removed. And it talks about how you can get it through inhalation or other exposure. Doesn't talk much about the good points of beryllium in the
body. One of the reasons this material reacts this way, and it's something the nuclear weapon technology uses this property.
It says specifically that way that beryllium oxide is being studied for use in increasing the thermal conductivity of uranium dioxide nuclear fuel pellets.
Yeah, we use it extensively. This is why I wanted you to read it, because because of this property is extensively used, but we use it in different way for absorption. Because once you absorb a flying neutron, you reduce its energy, and you absorb that energy and you create heat with it. And in the cosmic rays, or what we call universal fields, we have this property with this material that it transfers fields, but it holds fields. And in carbon-14 combination, carbon, what we call a 60 combination, it creates an inhibitor. It creates a condition to hold on, but then because of its structure, it shakes, it literally vibrates, and like a quartz, it releases its energy. And if the energy is not, in a way, held in position, it goes to the dimension of the decay or separation of the molecular structural connection. It's one of the biggest nightmare of the nuclear physicists, this material, and use of it in cladding and use of it in what we call the rods, absorption rods, and creation of the heat is very fundamental. It's one of the game players in this process. But at the same time, if we do, it's not an if, in interaction of the nuclear materials, we create certain types of cosmic ray. And we create certain cosmic fields. It's a natural process. And one day, when man understands this, man will move to the next step. We talk about what we call the structure of this material. If you look at it, it's 2 helium with the floating neutron. If you manage to get that floating neutron opened up, you break the system up. And in a way, by releasing energy into this neutron, you create that heating bubble of the fields that creates what we call dimension of the fission and splitting. And carbon-14 cosmic rays in certain spectrum go down to 9 in the magnetic field strength. In carbon-12, we always consider up to 30% variation in isotope energy. And carbon-14 plays a 40% to 45% variation. And even if you work with 25% or around about 30% energy field absorption and release, you'll find out fields conversion will allow the decay of this material in a way mostly splits into a very uneven or creates a heavier element depending on the field environment it exists in. This material plays a very good part in nuclear industry, and it's one of those materials they teach you. You have to understand it, because especially if you're working with the control rods and transferring heats and bringing a reactor under control, when you release the reactors at the high speed into the bottom of the reactor to stand and absorb all the energies and the what we call the neutrons and the rest of it. Part of this comes through this, but cosmic rays in the spectrum of the carbon 14 to 12, with the dimension of the diversity of around about 30%, which is matter state needs that to hold on to itself. It comes to the factor of, in the spectrum of this material, which itself has 30% up and down, which means if you get 2.7 with the 9, you come round about 12. And if you come down by 25-30% with 14, you see sometime these two fields interact in balance, and they allow the transfer, or not a decay, but the splitting of the fields of this material. When you deal with cosmic ray, you look at the field strength, not as a ray, the energy transfer. And then you understand why it does. In the nuclear industry, we spend part of what we call our studies is about this material, because of its use in certain parts of the nuclear material industry. And in X-rays, it does the same. One of the reasons it behaves, allowing the X-ray to go through it, because of this extra one single free bits in it, which opens a window for it. But then again, by the structure of it, it creates a vibration or a window, a space gap, that you get in this, especially in X-ray, you absorb some of the energy, higher order energy of when a beam hits the solid material by this material. The way we use it in nuclear industry for absorption of the heat and what we call radiation, the harmful part of the creation of X-ray before it comes out of the tube is absorbed by this material. It's not just its transparency. It creates what we call filtering of the certain fields of X-ray, which just lies within the band of the structure of the body of the man. The tissues don't get damaged.
It's interesting. They note here, I think, as a partial answer to Bente's question about radioactive cosmogenic 10 beryllium is produced in the atmosphere of the Earth by the cosmic ray spallation of oxygen. So oxygen, when it gets hit by the cosmic rays, produces this 10 beryllium. And that 10 beryllium accumulates at the soil surface, where its relatively long half-life of 1.36 million years permits it to sit there for a long time before it decays to boron. So that's how they measure this soil erosion and different layers of soils and that kind of thing, apparently.
It has a lot of use. if you walk away from matter state, talking about the neutron and electron and proton of these elements, and bring them into the dimension of the fields, you'll find out the behavior is totally different. And sometimes due to the energy they carry, they go usually 2-3 times by energy in matter state compared to what they are. So what it means, as you say, it gets a carbon, if a cosmic ray hits on oxygen, in a way, if you give enough energy or get absorbed by this material, it can behave like oxygen. And then because it behaves oxygen, it's in the same environment, so it doesn't decay in the ocean on the surface of waters. Because it's a different energy spectrum than what you want to call it, oxygen. Because oxygen itself is, again, in the spectrum, is and come down to what you call carbon-14 strength in upper atmosphere, which again, that spectrum behaves like this material, one of its isotopes. When you play with energy of the elements, you understand they're made of plasma. The game is very different than when you speak about the same element in matter state of condition. This material literally can go and behave in certain conditions like carbon-14. And in isotopes of oxygen, we see behavior of carbon-14. Any other question?
Okay, well, Bente has a second part of her questions here, and she wants to know more about cosmic rays. So she's been looking up cosmic rays, and they say that cosmic rays mostly composed of high energy nucleons such as protons, neutrons, and atomic nuclei, and that cosmic rays are essentially normal matter that has been accelerated by near light speed by the shock waves produced by the supernova. So she's asking, why are cosmic rays high energy rays, and how are they actually produced?
Is, as I explained, we call it cosmic rays or cosmic fields, and what you call it, if it's a photon or is it energy as a field, as a ray. It's not its production, it's in its travel, it's in the state of plasma. In interaction with inertia, converts into its matter state. And if you have the condition of inertia of it, it can convert, otherwise it goes through. It plays a good game, and it fits into transportation structure. If you read the pattern, you understand I speak about the helium, ionization of helium through centralization. Then if you take this up with understanding, you have a free, what I call free plasma extra with what sits in the system. You'll find out you have a behavior of a nitrogen in the amino acid. And this gives a lot of variation in the games this material can play. It's something on a base material in the nuclear industry. And as a matter state of it. But if you consider a nuclear reactor to be the plasma content, because there's so much field, the matter in the nuclear reactors behave like they are in their own environment of their own gravity and their own field strength, then you see this material behaves as a plasma in a field environment and not as matter. And then he explains all these behaviors, why and how we see it, and why in a space as a field, if it behaves like what they call it, um, a photon or a particle. Depends on how and the shape of the central field forces. Any other question? This is a very, very intriguing material. Always been. If you go with it and look at it in the construction of the physical body of the man, it plays a huge role in transparency at the skin level. And it plays huge, that transparency of amount of fields you absorb from the environment.
It must be able to move so easily through the body, being such a tiny particle. It's basically like a helium particle, which could move right through things.
That's is a very erratic material because of this extra neutron. It kicks a lot, and it creates a space gap that energy can be absorbed within it. It behaves very much like a nanomaterial. Any other question?
Okay, thank you for that. I'm sure Bente will be excited to hear of her answer. We have a hand up here with Powell. Would you like to go ahead, Powell, please? Hello, Powell, can you open your microphone and, or maybe it's an inadvertent hand, as we say. Okay, well, we'll wait a minute for Powell to get connected if he wishes to. And
I pressed it by mistake, so sorry about that.
Oh, well, do you have a question while you're here?
Not really.
Okay, thank you. Let me see here. We have a couple of questions about updates from Gaza and from the experiment to produce the food for the Palestinians in Gaza. Will there be a Zoom ID or a phone number for some sort of number released?
Yes, it's released in Gaza in mass. Many chat rooms which people from Gaza are connected to have already been flooded with it. And we start seeing the uptake on it in the next few days. You have to understand the lack of energy, lack of telephone communication and use of the Zoom. And at the same time, we've been upgrading very rapidly to be able to reach for them to receive a lot of things. The system from our side is been ready since Monday, 10 o'clock, but we had to upgrade. We had to add things to it to reach, but the lines are open and we have made intros with large number of what we call groups in Gaza. Very large number of groups in Gaza have received the knowledge. Our friend Jalal has been supporting us in translating everything to Arabic, and we are going through the process. We need a little bit more to add from our side is everlasting addition of technologies that makes it easier for them. And all the details are in the right domains, right chats in Gaza. We keep this very tight because apparently the Israelis didn't like what we did. I'll explain to you what happened later on Monday. And they are trying their best to block in every shape or form. They wanted to bring a nation. You know, in olden days, they used to encircle a castle till people starve and they submit. And that technique is used by the, what do you call it, the Israelis. But we tried to find, we found a way to reach in a much easier way by circumventing the Israelis. The minute we talk about it, they go for looking for it. So we'll let them, as I said, spot in it. But we developed and we're still developing it. We expected part of this, but not to this extent. And at the same time, Palestinians have a problem getting access to chargers, to batteries, and all the, what we call telephone lines from Palestine goes through the 972 number of Israel. So they control everything. And we are trying to bypass it. We'll explain that. It's a good thing for us. We are learning a lot how to overcome the problems in the future in this part. But systems initially were turned on around about 10:30 on Monday. And we're still going. We see how it goes and how what we call the process takes shape in Gaza and how we can bypass the Israelis to stop the Palestinians together. But a large number of the chats in Palestine have already received the full detail and translated by Jalal for us.
It's a bit of a funny coincidence that the undersea cable connections were cut for the Middle East, apparently.
By the Houthis, I think.
Well, the Houthis are claiming they did not do it. They're strictly in favor of lines.
Most probably Americans did it, blaming the Houthis for it. That's unusual.
Yes, something like that. And it's funny because the knowledge seekers are doing an experiment with Ethernet cable and nano-coding it and then cutting the cable to see if they can carry on the communications even though the Ethernet cable is cut. And the next day after they were talking about that, the cables are cut in the ocean.
Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I'm invited to this molecular show.
Yes, right.
I'll be there when it happens. I'll be one of the ones who'll watch. As I explained, we developed this technology in a different way long time ago. And we use it for our systems and especially military defense. But let's see. I'm waiting to see. They want to see if they can connect to our friends in Africa by cutting it. That will be very interesting to see. I already know the answer, but let's see what comes up. And as one of them said, we try to connect by the soul till we find out how to do it with the wires. Any other question?
Yes, we have a question in YouTube from DBZ. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. I want to ask how the human skin affects the nerve system. Is the nerve system responsible for the spatial gaps in the body? And what is the difference between the nerve system and the neural system?
I'm not a doctor, am I? I'm trying to go back to what we explained earlier. They said the skin of the man is part of the brain of the man, is connected. And then if you look at the physical structure of the inside, the nerve system and neural system are connected to the same brain. So they are directly connected in the structure, but due to different environment, they behave different. And if you look at the neural system, and we accept neural system, I mean, we don't see any cut between the brain and the nerves. It's all one extension of one. It's like pulling a spaghetti out of the pot of spaghetti. But at the same time, when you look, the spaghetti is in the pot, which is the skin of the man, which is made of the spaghetti itself. The neural system and the body skin have a very, very direct effect on each other because they're made of the same thing. And maybe we should not open this, and maybe we should open this chapter, because I opened this chapter in a very harsh way with Elia Kostova, and she didn't like it. The skin of the man is nano-material. And is connected, is part of the neural system. When, for example, like in acupuncture, you put a needle through, you bring a short circuit, you bring a cut into connecting the what do you call it? The skin to the wire. In a way, let's put it this way: if you make a electric wire, and instead of putting a plastic coating on it to cover it, put another of the same copper on it, on that copper wire. You understand exactly what it means, what it does. So, neural system and anything to do with nerves is part of the skin of the man, and is more or less all connected to the head office, which is the brain, and they come back down in a way. And if you cut between the two, you create mayhem for the system. And this leads to neurological problems we see in the world of the life of the man. And many, many of you have suffered neurological problems, but doctors give you all sorts of chemicals. They put some people in ever pain. If you find, let's say, example, a pain, a neural pain on your arm or a hand, if you just, not by rubbing it, if you change the shape of your skin, you see the pain changes. Because the distant gap interaction of the two releasing energy in the muscle tissue will change, which we call magnetic field in motion as the energy, or that energy is the pain. And then this creates a lot of conditions, because the information is transferred to the brain, a combination of feeding back the same thing to the nerve and to the skin at the same time, leading to a lot of neuro complications. And as I said, when earlier we had this discussion when they started using nano-coated needles, which brought the short circuit of the one nanomaterial into another, and then the mayhem with the nerve system, which is connected back to itself, is the same thing. And you have to watch and understand, and in how you position when you deal with GANs materials and the skin and the nerves. They're all made, connected all together. It's part of the same thing, but different branches of it. Outside is your skin, inside is nerve. But it's all the same pot of spaghetti, as I call it. Any other question?
Well, we had a hand up here with Jalal, but I don't see the hand. He put his hand down again? What happened there, Jalal?
I think he was saying right for tomorrow's test.
I don't see him here anymore, maybe. Oh, there he is. Go ahead, Jalal. See, your microphone is open, Jalal, but we don't hear a voice yet. Still can't hear you. Nope, that didn't help. Can't hear you at all, Jalal. So it sounds like your microphone might not be hooked up. You might have to come back into Zoom and try again.
Okay, go to somebody else on this.
Yep, we have some questions in the Q&A here from Achilles the. Is there any way to figure out the purity of one's soul by oneself? Thank you.
Yes and no. And a lot of misjudgment. And a lot of what do you call it? Observation. And can you hear me?
Yes?
Yeah, I have a call coming in, disconnecting. There are ways that you can do, and there are ways that you can bring and test it with your intentions. And there are ways where you can test it with the reaction of the others and reaction of your own physicality, dimension of your soul. Many ways you can test the clarity, how good, how close you are to your soul. How do you know it, and what is its position? In English, we say, look within, and you find it. And if you can, there's a way which is done. It's a very unorthodox way, but it comes from looking within. And then you can see. If you can see your soul with the eye of physicality, energy, not itself as physical, and you see what light you see of yourself, then you understand how your soul is. Do you see it red? Do you see it whitish? Do you see it reddish? And then understanding of the emotion of the man in respect to the light, then you'll understand where you stand in the evaluation of your own soul. That's what they say, look within, if you understand the terminology. Any other question?
Well, Jalal, I'm not sure if he wants to put his hand up now. He says, God do not want in the chat. So
I think he's trying to tell us God wants tomorrow at 1:00. I'm sure he's part of that gang. The start we call is a secret society, isn't it? They do all these tests. Let's see what comes if he can get in. Have we finished, or shall we?
There's maybe a couple more if you can bear with us here. Someone called Keshe's Field says, good evening, Mr. Keshe. Is it by putting nano copper and nano zinc together that we get carbon-14?
Well, we say a very good thing in English, dream on.
Okay.
Okay. Not really. Any other question?
Okay, we have a question from Jefferson from Brazil, who says, thank you very much for your presence among us. My question is, sometimes we love a person, a soul, very much, but that person does not reciprocate with the same intensity or does not reciprocate at all. This causes suffering in the person who has love and can oppress the loved one. Is this because the soul energy of the person you love is not on the same level as the energy of the loved one? We know that each person is free to love whoever they want, but I would like to know if it is possible through our intention to generate the seed of love for us in the soul of the person we love. Can the plasma from the cups of life in interaction with our intentions help in this process?
I want to ask you a very nasty question. Who are you in love with? Or how you're trying to tell your love? It's, I shall not steal. You can make it available till one day something will happen that it comes in. I knew a woman with she was never married in Manchester, and there was this guy next door. They lived next to each other for years. They're always wall-to-wall neighbors, and she had no intention, and he was so much in love with her that he couldn't. He was afraid that she refused it. Till after about 10, 20 years, he builds the courage and goes and says to her, you know, I love you and I want to. She says, you stupid man. You should have told me 20 years. I've been waiting for that from you. But I was too scared to ask. And they finally got married. And it was an amazing feeling of these loving each other, but being afraid of telling each other. And they lived 20 years. Secretly being in love or not telling to the other one. But if they would have known how to transfer the energy of love to each other the way we know, and it was there and it received, it would have changed a lot of things for them. And we have to be able to speak our love. If we cannot, we're afraid of we hide behind the soul. And it's a very strange situation with these things. Loving in hiding and elevating the soul that it becomes to know you love someone. This is the eating in the food going halfway around the mouth. Just because you think you have a mouth, you can feed it with a hand. Try to be straightforward. Elevation, we can elevate as much as you like, but that soul doesn't elevate to the level of wanting to love what you would expect as a love. And sometimes you keep quiet with it, but you hope it'll happen. And sometimes you put it on the table and it happens because it's mutual. And don't try to raise the soul of the person because he might raise it and love somebody else more. I have a rule and I always live by that rule. Always ask. And you never know what's hidden and what's the reason for to receive that love. And it can change your life. And you get what you've been waiting for all your life. But don't try to raise the soul that it reaches to understand your soul. You might raise the soul, it still raises, but falls in love with something else. Ask, and if you are of the same strength, when you are together, then you can raise the soul to be, and you love through the soul. And if you're lucky, you reach that point to be loved and to give love with it. But don't rely on the soul just because you know a way to do it. It might work in the counter effect. Any other question?
One more perhaps here with in the Q&A from Hong, who says, hello, Mr. Keshe, regarding the solar companion or second sun, I checked and scientists say the cycle is 26 million years and the most recent one was 11 million years ago. And you say it's coming in decades. So are scientists missing any other factors? And do we find this star, how bright it is and in which orientation? How do we find this star, how bright it is and which orientation?
Yeah, I received this question on a private chat when I asked it to be brought into public. We are in the verge of, or we are in the process of cycle of interaction of the, what we call the solar system, a twin solar system. We know when we extend this to the knowledge, the scientists tell us 26 million years and we are 11 million in it. We are actually very much close to it. The reason for this is that we see certain things which are happening in the universal dimension, and at the same time, the 26 million, whatever they say, was kept to a cycle, but as long as the environment was kept together. We have, as we know, a galaxy pushing on us and in two dimensions, which we expect is a conic collision in so many millions years or whatever to happen. It just doesn't come in, it creates condition. And that interaction of galaxies has pushed the stars close in compression. And this is the reason that the normal 26 million years in the normal condition of the, what you call our solar system does not apply anymore. You can't take one piece to suit, so you have to look at the total picture. I think if you go on what do you call it, on Wikipedia or whatever, and see what they call our Milky Way is on course of occlusion, it just doesn't hit. A lot of fields, a lot of things, a lot of stars in the structure start moving and change the normal pattern, and we are in that phase of an abnormal pattern. And it will reduce quite drastically. If you look at the position of our galaxy and the galaxy which is coming into it, which is a normal situation, what we call Battle of the Giants, this just doesn't happen. It's not a car appearing from somewhere. This interaction of the fields moves a lot of things back and forth, and partially in a way, this what we call global warming, pushing the Earth in by fraction, is part of this process. As the report is out, this February, we just passed few days ago, is one of the warmest ever recorded. Global warming is not just you produce a lot of CO2s, it's the other factors. And this is the reason we explain this. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it is a magnetic field, the huge magnetic fields, which is on the motion in the direction of our galaxy. And it's a balloon. When you press, everything inside moves with it. And this is the reason why the 26 million does not apply. That was in normal condition. Or we have to deny that there is a collision of the what do you call it, the galaxies in the coming time, million years, and then say, okay, elections, why you think it's not? It's a bigger picture involved.
We also have Betelgeuse ready to go supernova virtually any day now, apparently. So it could be thousands of years, or it could be every day, any day.
Explain to people what is Betelgeuse so they understand.
It's one of the stars in the Orion constellation, and it's been observed for many years, and they see the light of it going sort of dim and then getting brighter periodically, which is the indication of the red giant star getting ready to blow, basically. Yeah. And when it does, they say it'll be as bright in our sky as the moon is now. So that'll be a big change, big event in our history for sure.
Yeah, but we have to understand, look at the bigger structure, not a piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's even if we say that the collision of the twin star with the sun, you have to understand it's not just it's a dynamic system. We put pressure as much as that puts pressure on us. And in what do we get pushed in? Are we the one who's taking the pressure, or the one which is exerting the pressure on the twin system? And then we see different effects. When is dimension of twin us, our solar system, putting pressure on the other one, we'll see creation of a lot of new what we call planetary system on the edge of the solar system. When the dimension of the field comes from the other way, that the other star formation is putting pressure on our star formation, we see a lot of material floating into the center. So with a float or creation of the what we call large number of satellites on the edge of the solar system in one position, we can tell the direction where the field pressure is coming in from. And if we get too many satellites on the boundary of our solar system in a certain sector, we can even say which direction is this twin system coming to us. Is it over the, what do you call it, the left, the right, the top? And if it's vice versa, we look at the flow of the meteorites and all these rocks which are moving towards the center of the, what do you call it, the system, because they are trying to go through. The balloon is pushed on the wrong side. But we are nearing Easter, and you all have played Easter egg game. Depends which egg is stronger and which one will crack, and which one is putting pressure on. So if when our scientists become knowledgeable with and keep observation of the boundary of our solar system in planetary system, and what they call a small creation of a huge amount of bigger size, what they call planetary structure or debris, we know the pressure is coming, which way is coming, and how it's created, and the same. Are we putting pressure or are we receiving pressure? It's many things. But what we see at the moment is it's not so much the twin system, no more rotation. This is the exertion of the fields from the galaxy which changes this. You got to realize that when we look at the sun and we see certain lights. When you sit at the sun in a different field of strength and look into what the, what do you call it, fields of the center are, we see totally different view of the galaxy. We are on the fringes in the dark. When you sit in the center with the field plasma of the sun, you will see the sun, which our sun is lit due because of. And one day I explained this. This is as you see the sun to be bright with the interaction of field of the earth. When you're on the sun, you will see the center of the galaxy, which lights up, and how far you are from it and how you get lit in what direction, dimension, will give you exact position of you in respect to the center or to the center of the galaxy. These are the knowledge man will gain very soon as you become passenger of the universe. Any other question?
One quick one was added by Hong here at the end, but maybe you can give us a quick answer. I know you want to leave soon here. If life is interrupted, such as an earthquake, will the overall evolution of the universe lose anything?
No. What's a speck of dust?
So a few humans here and there don't really make much difference to the universe?
Not much difference. No, really. The soul of the man does. What will be created out of it, but not as a physical structure of things will go changing because of more little dust in there. What do you call it? You know, it's like you carry a sack of seed. It's there, it doesn't do anything. Till somebody bumps it and the seed flow out of it, and once they hit the ground, they start creating flowers and whatever. That sack of seed on its own has no meaning. It's just there is a sack, if you understand. When the seeds of it, when the soul of the man released from it and it spreads on the ground, in the grounds of the universe, then you will see what flowers will come from. And it will not make much difference, that sack of seed on its own. It's just on the shelf sitting in, doing nothing on the shelf in the kitchen till you actually sow it. And if the sack drops up in the bin and it goes away, you won't see it. But if it tears apart, then you see what seeds, what flowers will come on.
So in a way, an earthquake. So in a way, an earthquake or some of the traumas on the planet might be actually beneficial for the evolution in the universe. It'll help spill those seeds and get them out there.
Yeah, more or less there. So create more accidents to get more people out.
Well, humans just tend to sit around as like the bag of seeds and not doing anything until necessity hits, and all of a sudden you have to spring into action. And perhaps it'll take a trauma for us to do that.
It comes to it. It's the amalgamation of a lot of things. It's bringing a lot of things into open. And sometimes it looks bad, but it ends up to be good. And it depends what joy it brings you? Is it just a seed on the floor? Is it dry land, nothing happens? Or the seed falls in the water in the right land and then it becomes flourished as flowers? So much is not to do with the seed, it's the environment the seed lands on and what it creates. And even at the end of it, when you create that flower, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder and what it can get from it. Any other?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I think we've covered the questions for today. Yes.
Thank you very much. I think we'll celebrate our real 10th anniversary in Sanya next week, next Thursday. And we try to, what do you call it, share more knowledge and understanding, and to come to a point of full understanding of what it does and what it can be done. Thank you very much for today. And I hope I open your eyes to your own capabilities in the first part. It was very much self-enlightening you if you understood that your dream of creating what you wanted, so UFO to dimensional physicality, it cannot be if it doesn't carry the soul of you. And then what would be manifested from its interaction. Thank you very much. And we'll see you hopefully next week.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you.
Best wishes for next week's activities and how it all presents to the world.
Yeah, we have people coming from all over the world. And Chinese coming from their world, and it's a meeting of what we call people in love of the knowledge and the culture of the Keshe Foundation. And what it is, we have officials from the government and from different sectors who will be amongst knowledge seekers without them knowing, and are there to observe their position and the condition from a number of cases. And hopefully we'll have some other people live on lines or whatever, which might come in. It's going to be a fantastic presentation as well. Looking forward to Sanya, because I know it's a game changer. It's a true game changer. And some of you will understand why the games have changed. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Next week will be the regular time, I presume, at 9 a.m.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Today we had to be present in somewhere because of an action of some of our people and business on the side of it, nothing to do with the other things. Keshe Foundation, the bigger it gets, the bigger problem it creates for itself in different ways. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much for being here with us today once again. 10 years continuous weekly broadcasts, and I don't think you've been late once, except for a couple times that you notified us first. So thank you very much for your consistent help here for that time. Okay, this has been the 528th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, March 7th, 2024. Our next public teaching workshop will be the public meeting for testimonials. This will be the 88th month in a row of the testimonial meetings. And we welcome people to, if you have something you'd like to present, it's an excellent opportunity to show the world the plasma technology, and in a way you help to pay back for receiving that knowledge by sharing it with others. And that workshop starts at 8 p.m. That will be in Central European time. and on, again, Monday, March 11th. And people that are in North America, you'll have to check your time adjustment because the clocks will be changing this weekend, apparently, and that will change the time for the Central European time until a couple of weeks from now, when they change to the Central European summer time. So check your local time to make sure it coincides. Okay, thanks everyone, and we'll see you in the next public teaching workshop, and bye for now. Thank you for being here. We'll go out with the flight enhancement spaceship unit as per usual. And also thank you, Jedi, for our background image today as well. Okay, bye everyone.